Hello everyone, this is part 57 of our playlist, Full Stack Python. Okay, so this is a training course. This is a training course. Okay, this is a free training course. Okay, you don't need to pay anything in this training course. This is free training course. Okay, in this training course, we are learning theory in depth, as well as we are learning programming in depth. Okay, as well as we will solve hacker rank problem. Okay, hacker rank problem, as well as we will do projects. Okay, projects we will do, as well as we will upload our projects on GitHub. Okay, then we will mention GitHub repository link to our CV. Okay, whenever you will send your CV to your HR can show your project work. HR can show your work through your repository link. Okay, repo link. With the help of your repo link, HR can see your project work. All right, so this is the basic idea of this playlist. This is a training course. This is not just a video. All right, everyone. I hope you are getting. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to discuss about local variable. We are going to discuss about local variable as well as global variable. Okay, a variable is created inside the function is called local variable. For example, how we can create function in Python with the help of def keyword, and we write function name like f1 is a function name. Okay, if you are writing variable here a equals to 100, so this variable is known as local variable. This variable is known as local variable. This variable is known as local variable. Okay, so this is a local variable, and how we can create global variable. For example, if I define b equals to 200 here, so 200 is what? This is the global variable. Okay, so this is the basic idea. This is local variable, and this is a global variable. I hope you are getting this. Okay, see. What is global variable? A variable created outside function is called global variable. Okay, the scope of the local variable within function. The scope of local variable within function. The scope of the variable within function and outside the function. If we talk about global variable, so you can access global variable. For example, a equals to 100. And if I write function def, okay, function 1, okay, and if I print a, okay, then I create another function def function 2. Okay, then here also I am using a variable. Okay, a variable. So a is what? A is what? A is a global variable. A is what? A is a global variable, and you can access global variable from outside of the function. Okay, inside the function you can access this global variable. Global variable is available to every function. But if it is local variable, if a is a local variable, for example, if I create a here, like a equals to 100, so we can access a here, but we cannot access a here in another function. Local variable can access inside the function, within the function, but cannot access outside the function. Here it will give the error. But global variable, if I define a as a global variable, so it can access from in this function, it can access in this function as well. Okay, now we will see what is function with parameters. Okay, parameters are local variables which receive values at the time of calling of function or invoking of the function. So what is the mean of calling of the function and what is the mean of like invoking of the function? For example, let's say we have a function like def, like we are defining the function. Function name is, let's say, fun1. Okay, fun1 is a function. So this is a parameter. This is a parameter. A is what? A is a parameter here. Okay, for example, if I'm printing here a, so what it will print? Nothing it will print. Why? Because in order to print something, in order to execute this function, first we need to call this function. And how we can call this function? In order to call this function, you have to write the name of the function. What's the name of the function? Function name is fun1. And here, this is how you will call. But when you are defining the function, there is a receiver. Receiver is nothing but parameter. If it is parameter is there, then you have to pass some value inside the function. Function values are like you have to pass the input like 10, and 10 received by a. Now this function is called successfully. Okay, if you will not give input, this will not call. Okay, so a is what? A is a parameter. Okay, when you call the function, this is calling. When you call the function or execute the function, or we can say invoking the function, then only function get memory inside the RAM. Okay, PBM get memory to the function when we call the function. All right, I hope you are getting. Okay, so see, a function required input to perform operation. A function is required input to perform operation. That function is defined with parameter. If your function is defined with parameter, it means it's required input. It means it required input. All right. So if you not define your function without parameter, if you are defining your function without parameter, it means it does not need any parameters. If you are defining a function with parameters, it's need input. Okay, parameters or arguments both are the same thing. All right. See, a function defined with four types of parameters or argument. How many types of parameters and arguments are there? There are four types of parameters, or we can say argument is there. Number one is required positional argument. Number one is required positional argument. Number two is default argument and operational argument. Default argument, or we can say operational argument. Third is variable length argument. Third one is variable length argument. And the fourth one is keyword argument. One by one, we will see all the arguments, all these function parameters, all four type parameters in detail. Okay, we will see in detail. Okay, let's start with required positional argument or parameter. See, required positional argument or parameter. Function with required positional arguments, required values at the time of invoking function, or we can say calling function. Okay, let's say again, I'm repeating the example. Okay, okay, okay. Now we will see. Okay, for example, this is the syntax. So in order to define a function, first you will give def keyword, then you will write the function name. Function name is an identifier, means if it is function name is identifier means you cannot give the keyword as a name. Okay, you will give user defined name. Okay, but not the keyword. And here is list of parameters. Okay, n number of parameters you can pass in the function. Okay, so this is the parameter one, and this is parameter 2, and we have another parameter which is parameter 3. And how many statements are there in this function? We have statement 1 and we have statement 2. So this is what? This is the syntax of defining the function. It is not calling, it is not invocation. Why it is not invoking? Because we are not calling, we are only defining the function here. For example, see the example here. We have a function, power function. Okay, and this is a keyword, def keyword is there. How many arguments or parameters is there? Can anybody tell me? Like how many arguments are there? There are two arguments. One is num. The second one is power. P represent power. Okay. And here, this is one statement and this is another statement. We have two statements is there. Okay. So whenever you will call this function, which function? Power function. Whenever you will call this function, at the time of calling, we need how many arguments? Two arguments. See, whenever you will call this function, you need to pass how many arguments? Two arguments. Okay, two arguments you will pass, then only it will execute, because these parameters are what type? These parameters are required type. These parameters are required type. So it's mandatory to pass input. For example, if you write like this, power, and you are passing one input only, like 10, so it will give error. It will give error because how many parameters we need? Two parameters. Okay, two parameters we need. Okay, so if you will write like this, power and 2 comma 5, so how many parameters are there? How many inputs are there? 2. And receiver, how many receiving point? 2. So it will work fine. Correct. Let's try with example. Okay, let me execute this code on IDE. IDE is nothing but integrated development environment. We are using PyCharm. Okay, to execute this code we will use PyCharm. Okay, so let me open the PyCharm. It's being open. Just wait, everyone. Okay, so we will execute our program on PyCharm. Okay, first I will define the function. In order to define the function, we will use def keyword. Now we will write the function name. Okay, power is the function name. And now I will define the parameters. How many parameters are required? First is num and second one is p. Okay, and what we are doing here, we are calculating the power. Okay, num. Okay, I will create a result variable, and inside result variable we will hold the power of number. Okay, when you use double asterisk, it's mean num power p. Okay, p gets some value and num gets some value. Okay, then we will show the result. Like a result is okay. Result is, we can say, result. All right. So when I run this function, what will happen? If I run this function, so what will happen? Nothing will happen. Why? Because we are defining the function, but we are not calling the function. So if you want to execute this function, so you have to call this function. If I write here power, so if I run this function, what will happen? Error will come. Why error? Because what it's saying, what is the error? Type error. Power missing two required positional arguments. How many arguments? Two requirement positional argument, but we are passing how many input? No input we are passing. So how many input we need to pass? Two inputs we need to pass in order to execute this function successfully. So first input is 2, and I will pass the power now. I will separate two values by comma, and now I will pass the power. For example, power is 3. So what will happen now? What will happen now if I run this code? If I run this code, so it will run fine. Okay, the result is 8. Okay, so see, so this two reach to here on number, and this 3 will reach to here on P. Okay, and we are calculating here what? Power, now power P. Okay, and we are displaying the result like that. Okay, I hope you are getting everyone. All right, if you have any doubt, you can comment your doubt. Okay, and you can ask your doubt in the comment section below. If you have any query, if you have any suggestion, any feedback, you can give your suggestion and feedback as well in the comment section below. All right, how many number of time we can execute this function? We can call this function n number of time we can call, n number of time we can call this function. All right, I hope you are getting. Okay, for example, we have another function. This function is add. Okay, how many arguments are there? Two arguments. One is a and second one is b. Argument or parameters, both are the same thing. Okay, if somebody say argument and someone say parameter, so we are talking about parameters, or we can say arguments. Okay, or we can say receiving points. Okay, and how many statements are there? There are two statements. Okay, how many time we are calling this function? We are calling more than one time. Okay, we are calling add by passing 100 and 200, and we are again calling add function by giving some values. Okay, see, this time we are passing what type of data? Integer type of data. Okay, this time we are passing integer type of data. But in this function, when we are calling this function, add function, then we are passing what type of data? Float type of data. Float type of data. Okay, and now we are calling this function third time. So third time we are passing what type of data? Complex type of data. Okay, but this parameters are what type? Dynamic type. Dynamic type. Why it is dynamic type? Because A and B can receive integer type of data. A and B can receive float type of data. A and B can receive string type of data. Okay, it is not restricted. So that's why this is dynamic type of parameter. For example, in C language, how we define a function? So first we write return type like void, and we have add. Okay, and then we write int A and int b. So is it dynamic type function? Is it dynamic type function? No, it is not a dynamic type, because you can only pass integer types of parameters. Here a will receive integer type only. Okay, you cannot pass here string type of parameter. You cannot pass at the time of calling. Okay, listen everyone, please try to understand. Okay, please try to understand this code. All right. Okay, for example, whenever we call this add method, we can only pass what type of data? Integer type of data we can only pass, because this parameters is what type? Static type. It is not dynamic type. But here parameters are what type? Parameters are dynamic type. Means we can pass any type of data. Whether it is integer, float, or complex, we can pass. But here we cannot pass. Correct. What I'm saying here, please try to understand everyone. For example, see. For example, if I'm writing here in Python, how we can define function in Python? Like def and add method we have. And we have A and we have B. This is the style of defining method or function in Python. And in C language, how we define? First we write return type, and then we write function name, and then we write input parameters type. Okay. All right. So for example, here is our function in C language. So when we call this function, whenever we call function in Python, like add, whenever we call this Python function, we can pass any type of data. Okay, 5.6. Okay, 7.8, like that. Okay, when we call this function in C language, so we cannot pass any type of data. We can pass only what type of data? Integer type of data we can pass. For example, if I am calling this function and I am passing float type of data, okay, I am passing what type of data? Float type of data. So it is prohibited. We cannot pass. It is invalid. It is invalid. It is fine, and it is invalid. Why? Because here type is fixed. A type is what? Integer. B type is what? Integer. Here A type is what? A type is not defined here. Here B type is not defined. So we can pass any type of data. We can pass any type of data. I hope you are getting everyone. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Parameters or argument in Python are what type? Dynamic type. Whereas in other languages like C and C++, the arguments are what type? Static type. We define what? We define the nature of the parameters. Okay, so at the time of invocation or calling, we can pass the same type of value. If you are defining the parameters as integer, you will pass only integer type of data and nothing else. Okay, I hope you are getting. All right. So when we call this function, so it will add 100 and 200 is what? 300. And what is the result of this? What is the result of this function? Is 4.0. And what is the result of this complex? This one. And what is the result of this like string type of data? Python plus language. Okay, we are passing string type of data, we are passing complex type of data, as well as we are passing float type of data, as well as we are passing integer type of data. We are passing integer type of data. Okay, so everyone, I will provide the link of this presentation in the description. Your task is to download this presentation and practice by yourself. Okay, when you execute the code and write the code by your own, then only you will get the confidence. Okay, then only you get the confidence in programming, then only you can crack the logic in programming. All right, so it's your duty to download this presentation from the description. All right, let's move forward. Function with type hint. Function with type hint. Okay, in Python, type hint is an optional yet useful feature to make your code easier to read, reason about, and debug with type hints. You let other developers know the expected data types for variables, function arguments, and return values. Type hint are introduced in Python 3.5 version. Okay, so we have another types of parameters. We have another types of parameter which is generally known as type hint. Type hint parameter. And this type hint parameter introduced in what version of Python? 3.5 version of Python. This type hint parameter introduced in 3.5 version of Python. Hope you are getting. Okay, let's see with example like what is the mean of type hint. Okay, so whenever you will define the parameters, you will give hint. Like for example, we have the function fun1 and we are writing a colon int, b colon int. Okay, so what is the hint here? Like a required what type of data? Integer type of data. B is required what type of data? Integer type of data. It is hint. It is hint, but it is not mandatory. Still, you can pass any type of data, but it will give you the hint or suggestion like pass integer type of data. Okay, but you can pass any type of data. It will work as a hint. Let me show you with example so that you can easily understand. For example, let me define the function. How we can define the function? In order to define the function, we will write def keyword, then we will write function name. What is the function name? Function name is like add. Okay, and here we can define the parameters like this. Okay, and what we are doing here, we are adding the numbers like result equals to a plus b. Okay, then we have print and we are printing result. Okay, we are printing what? Result. And how we can call this function? We will write the function name and we will pass the argument. We will pass the input in the function. Okay, this is how we can call the function. Is there any hint like you will pass only integer data or you will pass only float data? Is that any hint? No, there is no hint. So whenever you will write parameter like a colon int and b colon int, so it will indicate say whenever you will give input like 10. Okay, and so whenever you will give input, it will suggest you like a is what type? Integer type. B is what type? Integer type. So you will pass integer type of data. Correct. If I run this code, so what will happen? The output is what? 30. Okay, can I pass any other type of data? Yes, I can pass other type of data, but it will always give you hint like pass what type of data? Integer type of data. But else you can pass float type of data as well, but it is work as a hint, and it is introduced in what? Python 3.5. Okay, so what's the result? What is the result? We can get the float result as well. Okay, correct. All right. Okay, see, example of example of sending values with argument name. Example of sending values with argument name. Okay, for example, we have fun. Function name is fun1. And how many arguments we have? We have 4 arguments, or we can say 4 parameters. We have 4 arguments, or we can say 4 parameters. Okay, so we are calling the function. We are calling the function here. We are passing the value as 10, 20, 30, and 40 we are passing. Okay, so when we call this function, so what it will print? It will print this data. Okay, and here what is this? For example, we are again calling fun1 and we are passing value c equals to 100, a equals to what? 500, and d equals to 600. Okay, and b equals to 200. So what we are doing, if you will say c equals to 100, so 100 take place which parameter? C parameter, and 500 will go there in A. Okay, in A. 600, D equals to 600 means this D will get 600 value and B will get 200 value. Okay, like this. Hope you are getting. If you are not understanding, then please practice, then only you will understand. Okay, it is not like very hard thing, it is easy. Okay, okay, for example, we have a function maximum. Example, we have maximum function. So this is user defined function. Okay, how many arguments is there? Two arguments are there. Are they are required argument or not? Are they required argument or not? Yes, A and B are required argument. What's the mean of required argument? I mean, whenever you will call the maximum function, definitely you will pass how many inputs? Two input you will pass. This is the mean of required parameters. Okay, so here we are checking if A greater than B, then print A max. If not, then print B max. Okay, another function we have add. We have another function called add, and what we are doing, we are receiving two arguments, A and B. A and B are mandatory or not? Yes, A and B is mandatory. Means whenever you will call this add function, you definitely will pass how many arguments? Two arguments you will pass here. Okay, two argument you will pass here. Okay, so we are calling this function by passing two values. We are calling again this function by passing two values. We are again this is what this is what this is used. It is not user defined. This is a predefined function. Predefined function. Okay, this is what type of function? Predefined function. Max is what? Predefined function. But maximum is what? User defined function. User defined function. Okay, this function. If you will pass value here. Okay, let me write the code. Let me open the ideally. So for example, let me create a function maximum, which is user defined maximum. Okay, this is a user defined function. How many arguments is there? Two arguments. And I will check here which one is greater. I will write here A greater than B means print which is max, which is max. Max is what? Okay. Let me, okay. Max is what? Max, max is A. Okay, if A is not greater than B, if A is not greater than B, else means which is greater? Print which is maximum, which is maximum? B is maximum. This time B is maximum. Okay, so how we can call this function? How we can call this function? So you will write here function name. What is the function name? Maximum. Maximum is the function name. So how many arguments is there? Two argument is there. Are they required argument or not required argument? Required arguments means whenever you call this function, you need to pass input. So this is what required argument. So we will need to pass input like 10 and 20. Then only it will execute. Okay. And what is the result? What's the result? Result is 20 is maximum. Okay. And we have another function which is predefined. Okay. This is what type of function? We can say this is user defined function. This is what user defined function. For example, if I write predefined function and if I give value 10 and 40. Okay, so this is what type of function? This is predefined function. Predefined function. This is predefined function. Okay, so is this function return anything? No, it will not return anything. User defined function, this function will not return anything. It will take two input, which is 10 and 20. 10 will come here and 20 will come here. We will receive 20 and comparison is there, and we are printing the maximum, else we will print maximum is B. So we are printing at the time of calling as well, but here we are not. This is predefined function. Okay, so what will happen? It will return maximum number. Okay, for example, if I run this code, so what it will happen? Only we are getting which is maximum, 20 is maximum. But this function taking input which is predefined, but it is not printing anything. Instead of printing, it will return the result. It will return the result. And in order to receive the result, we need to create another variable which is result, and we will print here. We will print here result. Okay, so this function, this max predefined function returning what? Returning what? Result. It is returning result. So for example, if I run this code, so what will happen? Max is 20 means this is the output of user defined function. This is the output of user defined function, and this is the output of predefined function. Okay, max function is returning what? Max function is returning the result. Okay, For example, how we can write the function with return type. So for example, we can also create the function with return type. For example, first we will write function definition and function name. What is the function name? Like maximum, and here is a comma b. We are taking this time, we will not print, we will return the value. If a greater than b, if a greater than b, then return what? Return a. If a is not greater than b, if a is not greater than b, then return what? Return b. Simple. Okay, now this function is printing anything? No, this function is not printing anything, but this function is returning a value. Yes, it is a returning a value. What type of value it is returning? It is returning maximum value out of a and b, which whatever is bigger, it will return the biggest number. Okay, when we call this function, how we can call? We will write the function name maximum. We will write the function name like 10 and 30. Okay, this is what? This is calling. What we are doing? We are calling, or we can say invoking a function. Okay, function is what type? User defined function. This is what type of function? User defined function. This is what? User defined function. Okay, so when we call this function, will it print anything? Will it print anything? No, it will not print anything. It will not print anything, because the nature of this maximum function is returning. So it will return whom it will return. It will return where it is calling, from where position it is calling. So it is calling from here. So it will return here. Okay, for example, result. And can we print the result now? Can we print the result now? Yes, we can print the result. Okay, so result. We can print like this. We can print, or we can use f string as well, like f, and we can say what? Maximum, max, we can say. Okay, max. This is what? Max. All right, correct. Now we will run this code. Okay, if I run this code, so what will happen? Okay, what's the error is coming? F string. Okay, I have to close the string as well. Okay, now see what's the output. Now maximum value is 30. So now this function is returning the value. Previously we are using print, like printing the value, and this function is returning the value now. Hope you are getting. Okay, okay, understand what is return keyword. Now we will understand what is a return keyword, as we already used in our program, how we can return the value. Let's understand the definition of this keyword. Okay, return keyword. Okay, return is a keyword or passes control statement or branching statement, or we can say branching statement. This keyword is used inside the function to return values. This function is used to inside the function is sorry, this keyword is used inside the function to return the value. Okay, return keyword we use after returning the value, it terminate execution of function. After returning the value, it terminate the execution of function. Okay, here is the syntax. You will write return keyword and you will write value name or object name. Okay, for example, we have fun1. Okay, def fun1, fun1. Okay, and here is a. So how you will return the data? You will write return, and here you will write a. So this function is returning a. Okay, this is returning some value where it will return, from where it is calling. Okay, fun1, like 10. So 10 will go here, 10 will go here. Okay, and after return keywords, when this termination it will end, so it will return to the function. Okay, after return keyword, other statement will not execute. Once the return statement executed, other keyword will not execute. Okay, I hope you are getting. We will implement the code as well. Okay, see this example, everyone. So we have a function which is simple interest. How many arguments are there? Three arguments, which is number one is amount, second one is time, and third one is rate. And we are calculating simple interest here. Okay, and we are returning simple interest. Okay, so it will, when we call this function, we will pass what? Amount, okay, time, and we will pass rate. Okay, rate. And this will return what? This will return simple interest to this variable. This variable will store. Okay, for example, let me write the code. For example, we have def and simple interest. Okay, simple interest. How many arguments? Three arguments. One is amount, and the second one is time, and the third one is rate. Correct. And how we will calculate this? Okay, how we will calculate? We will write in bracket amount into time into what? Rate, and divide by 100. Okay, then we will return simple interest. Then we will return simple interest. Okay. For example, when we call this function, we will write the name of the function. Okay, we will write the all of the name of the function. Okay, and we will pass the values. Okay, like 10,000, 12, and 2.5. So this function will return simple interest, and whatever it will return, we will store inside what? A variable, which is result variable. And now we will print here, like using f string, simple. Okay, interest is, and here we will write result. Okay, so when I call this function, what will happen? This is the simple interest. Okay, this is what? A simple interest. This is how we can call, this is how we can calculate simple interest using function. And what we are using here? Return keyword. Return keyword. Okay. For example, when we have this function, see this example, we have function f1. So we are writing return 10, we are writing return 20, we are writing return 30. So when we call this function fun1, when we call this function fun1, so what it will return? What it will return? It will return only 10. Okay. After once the return statement execute, it will not execute other statement. It will not execute other statement. So what's the value of a? What's the value of a? Value of a is 10. Okay, let me write the code so that you can easily understand. Okay, so for example, we have function. We will use def keyword and we will write fun1. Okay, and here what we are doing, we are returning some values. Okay, we can return the object as well as we can return the value. For example, first value is 10. Okay, return second value is what? 20, and return third value is 30. Third value is what? 30. Okay. So when we have to call this function, for example, we will call this function like fun. Okay, so function is returning what? 10 it is returning. So whatever it will return, we will receive inside what? Inside a variable like a equals to. Okay, so it is returning what? 10. So 10 will store here. So if I print a, so a will print. Okay, so what is the value of a? What this function will return? It will return 10 or 20 or 30. It will return 10 only. Once the return statement execute, other statement will not execute. Okay. For example, let me run the code. Only 10 is coming, but not this return keywords PBM will ignore. Okay. Okay. See this example. See this example. We have function one, and we are returning what value? How many values? More than one values. So whenever you want to return more than one value, you will write like this. So this consider as what? A tuple. Okay, tuple is what? Comma separated. For example, 10 comma 20, this is what? Tuple, and this is also what? Tuple. Both are what? Tuple. So it can return tuple object as well. For example, instead of writing this return individual return, we can write here like 10, 20, and 30. If I run this code, so what it will return? It will return a tuple. Okay. For example, if I want to check the type of a, what's the type of a, whether it is integer, float, tuple, or list. So it will tell using type function we can check. So if I run this code, so what will happen? What is the type of this tuple? We can return tuple as an object. Okay, see this function. For example, we have a function which is factorial. Okay, we are calculating what? Factorial. And we are saying like return what type of data? Return only integer type of data. It's mean this function will return integer type of data. So here is variable fact equals to 1. There is the logic of factorial. There is the logic of factorial. And then we are returning what? Fact. We are returning factorial. Okay. So what we are doing here, we are taking input from the user. Using input function, we can take input from the user. And this input function return what type of data? String type of data. That's why we are converting this data into what? Integer type. And this integer data will store inside what? Number. Okay. Then what we will do, we will call the factorial function. We will call the factorial function by passing what type of data? Integer type of data. We are passing integer type of data. We are passing integer type of data inside what? function, and this data, this function is returning what? This function is returning factorial, and this factorial will store inside what? Result. The result, this factorial will store inside what? Result. Then we are printing factorial of number. Factorial of number is this. Okay, so this is what? Enter 4. What is the factorial of 4? Is 24. Hope you are getting, everyone. Okay, now see, write a program, write a function to convert string to uppercase, string to uppercase. But before understanding the logic of this function, please try to understand like ORD function. For example, we have ORD function. If I say ORD function of a, if I give ORD function a, so it will return what? It will return 65. It will return ASCII value of particular character. What is the ASCII value of this a? Is 65. Okay, and CHR method, CHR. We have CHR function. CHR function takes ASCII value. It takes ASCII value and return what? Character, respective character. Okay. Okay. What is the ASCII value of small a? Small a ASCII value is 97, not 65. It is the 97. Okay. 97. And here, if we give 65, if we give 65 to the CHR function, it will return capital A. It will return what? Capital A. It will return. Okay. Now understand this logic. Now everyone, please try to understand this logic. Okay, we have function which is upper. We have function is upper, and we are saying return what type of data? If we are writing with arrow, we are using this arrow and str. This means this function return what type of data? String type of data. Okay, for example, we have upper string variable. Okay, and this is the empty single quote, and we are writing logic, or we are taking input. We are this function have one parameter s. Okay, whenever you call this upper function, you will pass a what? Argument, or we can say input, which is what type? String type input. Okay, and here is the logic. For example, we have for loop for ch in s. S is the input given by the user, okay, at the time of calling function. Then what we are doing? So first it will, for example, we are passing string words. For example, upper function we are calling, and we are passing a b c, a b c. So s will get s store received by ABC received by S. Okay. So we are saying CH in S. We are saying CH in S. So CH means it will take only A. It will take only A. Then after this it will indicate B. Then after it will indicate C. So it CH take one character. Okay. Then we will check this character is greater than A or less than Z. Means this character should between what? A to Z. Then only we can convert. Can you convert 12 into uppercase? No, we cannot convert 12 in uppercase. So particular input should be in between what? A to Z. Means it should be a character. You can convert A into what? Capital A, but we cannot convert 12 into the uppercase or lowercase. Okay, that's why we are saying it should be what? Between A to Z. Okay, then we will what we will do? We will take the ASCII value of that character. For example, we have A. We have A. So what is the ASCII value of A? 97. 97. And what we are doing from 97, what we are doing? We are minus 32. If we minus 32 from minus if we minus 32 from 97, then what is the value? What is the value? It will return 5. And what's the result? 65. And 65 is the value of capital A. 65 is the value of capital A. Okay, so it will give the result what? 65. And 65 is the ASCII value. CHR function convert ASCII value into what? ASCII value into what? Character, respective character. What is the character? Capital A. And capital A is stored here in uppercase variable. Okay, and here what we are doing? Concatenation, and it will store. If it is already capital, for example, user passing a string to the function. Okay, if user passing capital letters only, so we will not use this logic. Okay, hope you are getting, everyone. It is very simple. Once you practice, you will easily understand the logic. Okay, once you practice it, you will easily understand. Just you need to minus 32 from the ASCII value in order to convert capital to small. Okay, small to capital. What you will do? You will minus 37. Oh, sorry, 32 you will minus. Capital to small, capital to small, you will add 32. This is the logic, simple logic. Okay, and you already know what ORD function return. You already know what CHR function returns. Okay, and finally it will return uppercase. Okay, here we are asking input what from the user. Okay, and we are storing inside str1, and we are calling upper function. We are calling what function? Upper function we are calling, and passing a string str1. Okay, then we are printing str1, which is the input given by user. Then str2, which is return result by the function, return result by the function. And here we are printing. So for example, user give ABC, so ABC is there and the capital string is there. All right, I hope you are getting everyone. Okay. Okay, now see this function. Okay, for example, we have a variable, we have what? We have a dictionary which contain key and value. Okay, key is what? Username, and value is password. Key and value is there. And we are creating a function which is sign in function, and we are taking two argument. One is username and second is password. And we are checking if username in user, and we are checking if users u is what? Equals to p, users u. All right, for example, this is what? Users dictionary, this is what? Global dictionary. That's why we are accessing like this. Okay, and if it is true, then we will return what? True. And if it is false, then if it is not true, then we will return false. Correct? Okay, so what we are doing here, we are taking input as a username and storing in what? User. And we are taking password from the user and we are storing in what? Password. All right, and we are calling what function? Sign in function. If user and password, we are giving two arguments, two input to this function. Okay, user and password. Okay, user will store inside what? User will store, this argument will store inside this u, and this pwd store inside what? P variable. Okay. Okay, just wait. All right, so if it is true, if it is, if the username and password are authentic, okay, then only it will return what? True. It is given true, it will return what? True. Else it will return false. If it is true means condition true, it will say welcome. Okay, user welcome. Else it will say invalid user or password. It will say invalid username and password. For example, if username is nk and password is x234, so this is what? Invalid password or user, because x23 is not defined. X23 is not defined in this dictionary. Okay, x23 is not defined in this dictionary. Okay, so what is the correct password? Correct password is n234. N234. Okay, so be n123. N123, because n123 is defined inside what? Dictionary. Correct. Now we will see, default parameters or argument or optional arguments. Default parameters are given value at the time of defining function. If values are not given at the time of invoking function, PVM assign default values. Okay, if the value is not given at the time of calling function, PVM automatically given the value. So this is the mean of default value. Okay, for example, if you are writing like def and you are writing fun1, and here is a and b equals to, if you are giving 20. Okay, so when you are calling the function, for example, you are calling fun1. For example, if you will give only one input, so it is true, it is okay, it is not error, because this argument a will get, and we have, if you are not giving argument for b at the time of calling, then default argument is what? 20. Automatically be assigned with 20. If you are assigning, if you are giving two inputs like fun1 is 5 and fun and 2 is, b value is 2, so now it will not take the default value. B equals to 20 is what? Default parameter. So now this time it will take 10. We get 10. Correct. So this is the mean of default parameters. This is the mean of default argument or default parameters. Here is the syntax. You can see the syntax. Def is a keyword, function name, number of parameters, and you will, if you want to write default parameter, then you will assign some value at the time defining the parameters. At the time of defining the parameters. Okay, for example, we have a function one, and default argument means already assigned parameter. So a equals to 100. If you are calling this function without input, so it is okay, because already default argument is there. But whenever you will write this function like this, if you will not use, default, then, and if you will write like print a, and if you will call this function, okay, like fun1, and if you will not pass the value, so it will give error, it will not execute, because this is required parameter. For example, if you are giving 10, a equals to 10, now it is okay, now it will not give error, now it will execute fine. So this is a default parameter. And if you will pass the value, so 100 will replace with 200. Okay, it will print 200. Okay, here is the output you can see. Okay, all right, everyone. Thank you for giving your valuable time. Thanks for watching this video and thanks for giving your valuable time. Okay, thanks everyone. And please practice the code. I will provide the link in the description. You can practice. You can download this notes and practice your program. These all are the tested program. This is error-free program. You can practice. All right, everyone. And if you have any feedback, if you have any suggestion, you can give me your suggestion in the comment section. And if you have any doubt or query, you can ask in the comment section. All right, everyone. Thank you. And always keep a smile on your face. Don't forget your smile. And always learn. Okay. Once you learn, your future is secure. Okay. Do not worry about the situation. Situation comes to make you strong. The different situations and difficult situation comes to make you strong. So have patience with you and stay strong. Okay, the how, like if you will face so many problems in your life, so the more strong you will become. Okay, so what I'm saying, always focus on learning. If you're learning, problems will go and problem will come and go, but time will not come again. So please learn by your like your time. Learn on your good time. All right, thank you everyone for giving your valuable time. Bye.